bring questions to the presenter's attention. We will also be sure to leave some time for questions at the end and perhaps some questions throughout our presentation as well. So hopefully everyone's had a chance to join in and establish their technical process there with Zoom. All right. The importance of positive social interactions and relationships is a key component of emotional wellness as we age. Learn about the Wellness Center for Older Adults and the Front Porch, an excellent opportunity to develop friendships, experience positive socialization, and share life stories within supportive relationships. Explore the stages of human development after 50 and how our life experiences influence our sense of self, especially as we age. Keeping your mind and body active and engaged is important. Plano Public Library is pleased to partner with several organizations with resources to assist you. Along with opportunities to learn something new at the library, these Living Well programs will connect you with information, programs, and services to assist you in getting the most out of life. And today, we have Nora Gravois from the Wellness Center for Older Adults to share information about staying social. And just a few words about Nora. Nora Gravois has worked with individuals and families to provide support with birth to end-of-life needs. She has experience as a geriatric social worker, supporting patients and families in hospice, home health, intensive outpatient psychotherapy for older adults, memory care, and case management. Her passion is to provide caregiver support and to help older patrons and their families with support in the community, their home, and in facilities. Nora is currently working at the Wellness Center for Older Adults, providing consultation and counseling support to caregivers. Thanks for being with us today, Nora. We really appreciate your being here. And I know you have a person with you that you'll be introducing as well, so I'll let you say hello.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I certainly want to thank the Plano Public Library for all that they do to get information out to the community and to allow us to be able to talk about our programs that we offer. I have with me today Grace Benson. She is a master's level social work student who has been interning with us this semester, and she will be graduating with her master's degree in social work in the end of this month. So we're very proud of her and all that she has accomplished, and we look forward to her being out there in the Collin County community, continuing to do things for older adults and others that she comes in contact with. So welcome, Grace.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for letting us be here today. Are there some other things you wanted to say, Susan?
No, I think we're ready to go ahead and begin. Whenever you are ready, we will start with our presentation for today.
All righty, wonderful. I hope everyone can see the screen there. I feel so privileged and so blessed to be able to speak on behalf of the Wellness Center for Older Adults. We have so many programs here at the center that we just want to get the word out. Socialization is so very important, and I think a lot of us came to recognize that and came to terms with that during the COVID pandemic. Our socialization program at the Wellness Center for Older Adults is called the Front Porch. It was started by one of our nurses who realized that a lot of the folks coming in to get preventive health care were not having opportunities to just be with people, talk to people. As folks have slowly started coming out of the COVID closed doors and back into the world to reacquaint themselves, it's been an exciting thing to watch people be able to find joy again, to find connection, and to find a sense of belonging. And that's what the Front Porch tries to offer. That's our goal. Our goals at the Wellness Center is to help older adults navigate this transition in older life that includes stages of development, similar to the way our infants and our toddlers, our preschoolers, elementary, junior high, high school, and young adults go through. So many times we don't realize that we are continuing to develop, even though we think we've been there, done that, and retired from everything. There are still things that our psyche, our emotional well-being tends to struggle with. And that includes issues related to intimacy and isolation, generativity and stagnation, and our ego identity, our sense of self, and feelings of despair. And so what we're going to talk about, my PowerPoint is not moving forward. There we go. What we're going to talk about is our mission at the Wellness Center for Older Adults is to specifically help older adults achieve their highest level of mental and physical well-being and functioning. And we do that through several of our programs. I'm going to go through these individually in a little bit because I want you to see how they relate to those inner conflicts of intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation, and ego identity versus despair. Because as we age, sometimes, I don't know why my screen is not, there we go. Sometimes we aren't as necessarily aware of our limitations, and we certainly don't like to face them a lot of times. But regardless of our physical conditioning and our physical abilities or inabilities or challenges, we feel like that inner person inside that just feels like a young adult still, because our spirit still has that opportunity to achieve our highest level of functioning and well-being, regardless of what age we are. And I want to help older folks discover that inner shadow that is still within there, just waiting to come out. So let's talk a little bit about these stages of development. As we age, we go through natural developmental stages, and with the earlier stages of that young children go through, because we ask questions like, is he turning over yet? Is she walking yet? Has he said mama yet? Is she sleeping through the night yet? We routinely ask those kinds of questions, and I want to encourage older adults to be comfortable talking about these older stages of development that are just as important. One of those is our sense of intimacy versus isolation. As we get older, we have life experiences that give us an internal message that says either it's safe to have close, happy relationships, or we tend to push away relationships because we feel a need to protect ourselves, and maybe we isolate ourselves. As we get older, those same challenges tend to be experienced, because when we are going through different adjustments in life, sometimes we're tempted to rely on those old past experiences. And if we haven't had a lot of success developing relationships, we tend to isolate further. So the encouragement here at the Wellness Center is to have programs that help older adults experience a positive, happy sense of intimacy rather than isolation. The next stage of development is generativity versus stagnation. In our younger years, we've been very involved in building a career, in building families, establishing relationships, being involved in different events, community, social, church, family, relationship clubs, so to speak, where we've been involved in some type of social activity that we contributed towards. Maybe we made the cupcakes for the health fair. Maybe we made the cookies for the church bazaar. Maybe we provided snacks for that classroom that our children were in. But we've been a part of building something, a part of something outside of ourselves, contributing towards something. But as we age, because of those physical and sometimes health limitations, We tend to feel like we're not producing anything anymore. So again, our Front Porch and all of our programs are meant to help folks feel like they have a sense of contribution. There are lots of ways to volunteer, lots of ways to get involved so that you don't feel stagnant. I often hear older adults say, well, I'm retired, now what? And that's where we want to encourage older adults to find a way to stay generating energy towards something outside of themselves. And then that last stage of development refers to a sense of ego identity, which is oftentimes called integrity. A sense of integrity when I look back over my past and I see what I've done. And even if it wasn't perfect, I can still feel good about it and okay about it. Versus looking back over our shoulder at 99 years old and feeling a sense of despair because maybe I haven't been involved in relationships, maybe I haven't produced, maybe I can't look at my past mistakes as things I've learned, things I've grown from. And so as we age, socialization helps us accomplish intimacy, generativity, and integrity, and it helps us battle feelings of isolation, stagnation, and despair. So the Front Porch is one of those outreaches that we have that supports and encourages intimacy. The Front Porch is an opportunity to have conversations about life, about healthcare, about things we might have in common, things we might have questions about. It's not a heavy time of conversation. It is a facilitated time of conversation to maybe help promote some reflection, maybe share some successes, maybe talk about some experiences that we've overcome. It also, our programs specifically designed for generativity, helping folks feel like they're a part of producing something. Our Project Independence program allows folks to volunteer if they'd like to do that, as well as be the recipient of free medical transportation. Mental aerobics is a time to get together and work on puzzles together, work on games, do some activities that are facilitated that helps challenge our mind, challenges our brain, not in a hard, failing way, but in a way that helps us think outside the box, gain insight from other people, and feel like we're all working together towards something. The same thing goes with our Memory Cafe. We do that specifically for folks who have dementia and their caregiver, to just create a positive environment where they feel like they're working towards something together, a positive outcome. Our Beyond Blue Case Management is a collaboration program that we have with LifePath Systems, the mental health authority here in Collin County. So providing case management for older adults who have mental health concerns and issues. Our Give Back Supplies Closet offers people the opportunity to donate still good durable medical equipment, personal supplies that hasn't been opened, and by providing those, they are in essence passing it forward. That is generativity, being able to contribute towards a better outcome outside of myself. All of our street outreach and homeless prevention, our benefits and community resources is information and resources and tangible supports for folks who need to feel a sense of connection, who need to feel like they need to accomplish something, and so we provide opportunities for them to learn about that. And then our programs that really promote a sense of integrity or ego identity versus despair is our counseling programs. We want to help senior adults feel a sense of integrity when they look back over their lives, when they reflect on their current situation, and when they even dream about the future, feeling good, feeling positive, feeling whole, even when mistakes might have been made, that victories were experienced because of challenges that were overcome. So we have individual counseling, caregiver supports, either Zoom or in person, support groups, and caregiver grief support groups. We also provide something called caregiver circles, excuse me, which falls under our caregiver training category, which we will be providing some of those classes at the Plano Library, the Haggard Library, starting in October. So we're really looking forward to that. Community education, right now we're providing that in the senior centers in Plano, McKinney, Wiley, Allen, Frisco, and we hope to locate other sites that we can provide some community education and caregiver support, caregiver information. The Front Porch is just one way that allows us, this gets stuck every now and then, I apologize for that. The Front Porch is just one way that allows us to accomplish all these goals. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the Front Porch in specifics. The way we approach creating a sense of intimacy instead of isolation is that the folks who attend the Front Porch become a little supportive circle for each other. We talk about life experiences, vacations, favorite hobbies, maybe careers that folks have had, looking for ways that people have things in common, because developing new friendships is what helps us practice intimacy. Sometimes we have senior adults who maybe don't have a lot of family close by, and some of these friendships can become as important and significant as family friendships, because during Front Porch we might risk sharing some personal stories. It's not a therapy group, it is strictly a socialization opportunity. So it's facilitated by our nurses, and there's a lot of opportunities to talk about health concerns, maybe risk a little bit about our own health and what we're struggling with, but to find out that we're not alone in that. Learning to practice vulnerabilities, if we've not done that in prior relationships, can be a very risky time. And so we want that to be a positive, validating, encouraging social opportunity so that it increases intimacy and a desire for close relationships rather than further withdrawal and isolation. It also helps encourage generativity instead of stagnation, because we might have opportunities to talk about our careers, talk about things that we have accomplished in life, those successes that maybe were early on in relationships, our own upbringing, the raising of our children, the development of our careers, our involvement in community events. It's very exciting to hear life stories that involve what people have accomplished. And by telling those stories, it gives a sense of validation. Sometimes as we get older, we don't have opportunities to talk about all of what we did before, because we tend to want to move on into what we're doing now. But there are some times of reflection that can be very important to help us remind ourselves, I have contributed, I have been busy, I have been a part of other things that were for a good outcome. So maybe that means I can still do some things. A lot of times I hear people say after retirement, been there, done that, don't want to do it again. So helping to discover other ways that you can extend energy and be a part of building something that keeps in mind your own limitations, your own desires. I only want to do something one time a week, 1 hour a week, whatever that might be, but getting some validation for whatever you are doing that's generating, that's a part of contributing to something outside of yourself. You're building something. You might have some incredible advice or suggestions to offer another group or another person who's going through a similar experience. But learning that you are still a part of something bigger. Because on the flip side, that feeling of stagnation can lead to feelings of depression, loneliness, sadness, and further isolation, further avoidance of relationships. And so whether you've been a part of things and have a lot to say, or you're a little shy and don't have a lot to say, our hope is that you build such a sense of connection and belonging to the group that you'll feel free to talk about anything that you'd like. Tell jokes, tell funny stories, talk about something that happened on the way over to the building, anything to feel like you're being validated for what you're contributing to others around you. The ego identity versus despair is another way that the Front Porch really strives to validate experiences. Sometimes we have opportunities to talk about unfinished business, things that haven't felt closed, important conversations with family members or friends or past relationships, that as we get older, maybe our priorities shift a little bit, and some things are more important now than they were back then. But there's this sense that it's unfinished. I feel like I need to do something about that to help myself feel better. And that's the whole goal of the Front Porch, is to come together and just talk, share about positive experiences as well as challenging experiences, so that everyone who attends can receive that validation, and the validation of self that is so important. Sometimes we beat ourselves up for mistakes that have been made, or corrections that have not, or errors that have not been corrected, or fear of even approaching that. And sometimes just validation that I'm with you, having a supportive circle that says, let me encourage you as you face this difficult moment. Opportunities to resolve old things, old relationships, to even remove, maybe talk about the dreaming aspect of ego identity. I have a wonderful friend who lived to be 99, and we called it her sparkle. When she would get an idea about something that she wanted to do, she would say, Nora, I had a sparkle today. And so my goal was to validate that dream, even at 99. How can we accomplish that? How can I help you accomplish that? And that's what the Front Porch does. It gathers us together so that we can work together and improve our ego identity. Despair is something that a lot of older folks face. We especially saw that after COVID, after the pandemic, and we had so much loss during those 2 years. And then in the 2 years following, it's been kind of like catching up from all of that loss, catching up from a sense of, I have something to give, because we were restricted from practicing these things. We did not have opportunities to obtain resolution sometimes. Excuse me. I'm not sure why that's happening. But after COVID, it became very evident to us that our clients, the folks who were coming in to see us, were really experiencing a sense of stagnation, isolation, and despair. And so all of our programs, the Front Porch in particular, has really made an effort to try to improve that sense of intimacy, that sense of ego identity, and that sense of generativity, because that's what we missed during COVID. Older adults were not given the opportunity for those connections and that sense of belonging in a structured way. And so we've made an effort to do that, because we want all of our folks who come through our programs to feel like they can join us at any time, to feel like they can be a part of our programming. I had some slides that I think did not show up, so bear with me a moment. Oh, I'll just talk about it from here. So I apologize, my slides, I somehow had missed out on those. The Front Porch meets on the third Thursday of every month from 1 to 2:30. We are very blessed to be able to be housed in the Sam Johnson Senior Rec Center. We are meeting in classroom 2 right now, and we do ask that you RSVP, because we do try to have supplies. Sometimes, well, most oftentimes, we have good snacks. So if we know that there's a particular snack, or if there's a diabetic, or if there's some other type of nutritional or health diet need, we want to try to honor that. The Front Porch is intended to create this feeling, just like the picture you see on the screen. I don't know how many of you grew up or had experiences of the Front Porch experience, where you could just gather together, talk about the week, talk with your neighbors, just reconnect with family. Oftentimes, family members would come and talk on the Front Porch before they ever went inside. My husband is from New Orleans, Louisiana, and his father used to always tell the story that you knew if you were welcome if somebody was sitting on the front porch. That was your first clue. But the second clue was they always had their doors open, and so if you threw your hat in and the hat didn't come back, then you were welcome to come onto the porch. And I've always loved that picture because it's giving folks an opportunity to come inside, for us to have an opportunity to go inside another person's space and just share common everyday experiences. As we age, if we don't have family close by, if we're not a part of some social, church, neighborhood, or community group, we may not have opportunities to experience ego identity, a sense of validation. Folks, to tell you, wow, that's a cool thing that you did. But opportunities to talk about those life experiences that have made you who you are today. That is so incredibly important in order to be able to feel a sense of identity and integrity when you look back over your shoulder and ask yourself, what have I done with my life? Sometimes just having the opportunity to have conversations, we might not get those chances if we're not out there involved in things. Every senior center that I have been to, including Collin County here, between the rec centers, the libraries, churches, sometimes neighborhoods, local community and civic groups, find ways to get involved, find ways to connect with other people. But if that's difficult, the Front Porch allows us to do that, allows us to talk about struggles maybe that you're having about isolation, recognizing that maybe I don't see people as often as I would like to. I don't have a chance to talk to people and hear about other people's lives and see what's going on out there and to compare my ideas to somebody else's idea. Those are all part of practicing intimacy. Figuring out where your boundaries are, where your space is, how much you're willing to risk, how vulnerable you're willing to be, so that you don't experience isolation even when you choose to be alone, because that's two very different things. Choosing to be alone and loneliness are two different things. And sometimes I hear seniors talk to me about that confusion. Choosing to be alone does not mean you're suffering from isolation, but being alone so much that you feel isolated and you're no longer involved in other people's lives and other people don't know what's going on in your life could be an indicator of isolation. We learn patterns throughout our lives about whether or not a relationship is a safe thing to pursue, or I've had too many failed relationships because of hurt and disappointment. So as we get older, if we already have those tendencies to withdraw, we're probably going to face a sense of isolation. So that's where the generativity comes in. It's coming to the front porch, risking a little bit of energy, being a part of something, producing something with a group, whether it's just a laugh or a shared outcome of feeling connected. That's all what happens at Front Porch. So we want you to join us to help reduce any feelings of isolation, any feelings of stagnation, and any feelings of despair, because we want to improve the feelings of intimacy, improve the feelings of connection, building generativity, and to improve that sense of ego identity. Because at 99 or 109, I want to help you look back over your shoulder and feel integrity instead of despair. So we hope that you'll let us know how we can help. All of our programs are free except for the preventive health services. We have a sliding scale fee that's much cheaper than copays. And so if you want to come in for some of the preventive health services, that includes ear cleaning, nail trimming, diabetic foot care. Those are all free. Consultation with a registered nurse to be able to review lab results, to be able to review questions that you want to pose to your doctor before you go see the doctor. Maybe you have a list of concerns that you want to talk about. Maybe the nurse can educate you a little bit about those before going to the doctor so that you feel empowered, validated, a sense of identity when you go talk to the doctor. The only health services charges that we have are for when we have to use equipment. So we do offer lab work, so a low-cost fee to cover the cost of the lab that we have to send the blood to. The ear cleaning that requires some irrigation, maybe, and then the diabetic foot care that requires a little more specific trimming of the toenails. But our blood pressure screenings, our hearing screenings, our vision screenings, our consultations with the nurse, all of that is free. All of the other services that you see we have listed there, everything is free to residents of Collin County. We're so fortunate to have a grant through the Area Agency on Aging that allows us to provide all of these services at no charge. And I'm new to Collin County, but I keep hearing from folks when I make these presentations that they didn't know we did all these things. So the Wellness Center used to be called the Maurice Barnett Geriatric Center. They've been here in Plano for over 40 years. They've been housed in the brand new building at the Sam Johnson Senior Rec Center now for about 2 years. And we've got facilities to be able to provide all of these services. The Sam Johnson Senior Rec Center has their own calendar of events, so we encourage folks to get involved in some of those activities and educational classes and offerings and opportunities, again, to help build relationships. So it helps you focus on intimacy instead of isolation, to help be a part of contributing towards things. Lots of volunteer opportunities are available here. And again, that's generativity versus stagnation. And then lots of opportunities to have some feel-good moments. People to shake your hand, smile at you, give you a hug, welcome you, things that help you recognize that you are here, still very capable, still very possible to get involved in things. And we want to encourage that. So if there is anything that we can do for you, we hope you'll let us know. But in particular, if you have any questions, any thoughts about attending the Front Porch, we hope that you'll come be a part of that. Give us that opportunity to help you find connection and belonging. You can RSVP at our phone number, which is 972-953-7669. I have our online presence, our web address there. Please go online and check out our website. We also have a Facebook page. So we'd love to connect with you however we can and in whatever way would be helpful. So again, I want to thank y'all for participating today and learning a little bit more about the Front Porch. If nothing else, I hope you remember the image of the 2 rocking chairs sitting on the front porch and the tagline that says, "The Front Porch is a socialization opportunity for connection and belonging," because that's what we want to offer you and hopefully help you achieve your highest level of function and well-being. So thank you for being a part of the discussion today. I feel like I did a lot of talking, so I'd love to hear your questions. If there are any questions, please add those to the chat room, and Sabrina will be facilitating that for us.
Well, Nora, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation on the Wellness Center and all of the different services and programs you provide, and particularly the Front Porch, going into more depth on that and telling us all about that. And hopefully we will have a few questions that will come into the chat and you can elaborate on that a little bit more. So as you folks have a chance to enter your questions into the chat, if you have any, we'd like to just go on to a few slides about some of the services provided by the Plano Public Library, and then we'll come back to some Q&A. And by the way, Nora, I loved learning the word generativity. I did not know that word, and that is such a wonderful word to know. Yes, thank you very much. All right, now let's see. Can you see my slides right now? Maybe not yet. All right, let me go ahead and try this and see how this works. There we go. Anything coming up yet?
Yes.
All right, very good. Okay, all right. Well, we will go on to the next slide here. Let's see. So one of the programs that the Plano Public Library has is a program called Memory Keepers. And this is for folks living with early stage dementia or Alzheimer's and their care partners. We offer it in partnership with the Alzheimer's Association. It is a monthly online conversational program for people and their care partners to explore and conserve memories together. And the aim of the program is to give people living with dementia or Alzheimer's a comfortable space to express feelings, interact with others, remember the past, express their personality, and reduce anxiety and restlessness. Library staff lead participants in guided conversations around common themes like families, friends, pets, childhood. And there is time for participants to share their experiences. All registrants receive a follow-up email with the link to library resources about dementia and Alzheimer's. So that is the Plano Public Library's Memory Keepers program. And as you see on the slide, it meets on the third Monday of the month at 10:30 a.m. And registration is required, and you can find that on our Plano Public Library website, the link to registration. We have another popular program here at the library called Connecting Seniors. And this program, as you can see, meets on the first Thursday of every month at 1 p.m. And in this program, we meet new friends or connect in a new way with those around you by joining Connecting Seniors. And people get together, share life experiences, stories, and memories, and have fun. We also have many library book clubs that are another way to get together. So we have Connecting Seniors and book clubs there. And as you may know, we have many programs and classes that are for adults as well as children. We have online technology classes. We have ebooks that you can read or listen to. And those programs include virtual programs. The Libby app is used for our ebooks. And then we have an Engage brochure, which is in print and also available on our website. And the virtual classes and programs we've mentioned, those are available also for those who prefer to take classes through the computer. And you can find out about everything we have to offer in that area at the Plano Library Learns blog. And the website for that is simply planolibrarylearns.org. It's a good place to start. We have posts with engaging content and resources about our primary themes, which are arts and culture, early learning, students, STEAM learning, technology, and reading. And the blog also has articles, recommendations, and reading lists. You can also connect with us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and receive daily information about what's going on. And there are just so many ways to stay social at the library, right from the comfort of your own home. And one of our more recent connections is our fairly new Plano Library podcast, which is called Plano Library Speaks. And we have the web address there, a little bit.ly web address at the bottom. You can go there and you can subscribe to the podcast. You also can get to it from our Plano Library Learns blog if you'd like to just pull it up that way. And that will help you learn lots of things about the library with interesting speakers who come from the library. And with that, we will return to any questions for Nora, any questions for me, and I will go ahead and open up the floor for that. And here we have Bethany's contact information, who is heading up the Living Well series if you need to reach her for any reason. So Sabrina, do we have anything that's come into the chat?
Yes, we have had a question. How do we borrow the medical equipment from the Wellness Center?
That is a wonderful question. And let me tell you that we have a small closet in the front of our offices that is packed full of wonderful donations from folks who have used medical equipment, but it's still in great condition, because we're able to then pass that forward and give that to someone else to use. It's a very easy process. We do require a driver's license with your address and phone number, because all we ask is that when you're finished with it, that you return it. But having your contact information allows us to call you if a good amount of time passes and we haven't heard anything from you. We don't come tracking people down. What we do ask folks to return it. So all you have to do is come into the front office, let our volunteer receptionist or our office manager know as soon as you walk in that you'd like to borrow an equipment. And if you'll call us and give us a heads up that you're coming, we can have it pulled out and waiting for you. We have wheelchairs of a variety of sizes. And so if you can kind of let us know if you're a tall person or shorter in stature or maybe a weight size needed, we will try to match that up to the best of our abilities. If the person who's actually going to use the equipment can come in, our nurse can sometimes help with making sure that a cane or a walker is adjusted to the correct height, or that the wheelchair is, the correct size that's going to be the most comfortable. So we have wheelchairs, walkers, canes, shower chairs, potty chairs, bedside tables, just crutches. I mean, just a lot of equipment that folks have donated that might cost a pretty penny if you were to have to go buy it. And then we also have personal supplies that we give away. So unopened bed pads, personal care supplies, briefs for both men and women of a variety of sizes. And so we just give those out. But for the equipment, we do need to have your phone number and address. And so you just provide that at the front desk. And then we try to find the equipment that you're needing or looking for. And we don't want you to feel shy about asking, because if there's something in particular that home health has recommended or your doctor has recommended and you can't get that through Medicare for some reason, or you're having to pay a copay for it, let us know if maybe we might have it first. Let us know, and we'd be happy to lend that out to you. Does that answer your question?
Let's see, that was Daphne's question. If you have any other follow-ups, Daphne. Oh, very good. Yes, Daphne says yes. And Nora, I had a question about the Front Porch. I know sometimes people are hesitant to attend programs if they feel like they won't be able to come every single time. Is it okay for folks to come when they can and maybe not be able to come to every meeting?
Absolutely. And thank you for asking that. It's a great question. Yes, there is no commitment. Even if you call us and tell us, I'm going to plan to be there and something should happen and you're not able to make it, we're not going to call you back and say, why weren't you there? Because we want this to be a positive experience for you. We hope that you'll come, but there's no commitment. What's happening, I can tell you, is that folks who have been coming have been looking forward to the next one. So even folks who were hesitant, well, I don't know what this is about. Let me check this out. And then change their minds because there's no pressure. We're not selling anything. We're not trying to persuade or convince anybody of something that they need to do or ought to do. We don't do the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, ought to, need to. But we just, it's a facilitated conversation. It's kind of like your social connection opportunities. It's just an opportunity to get out, to be with people, to have maybe share some common life experiences or maybe learn something new about someone else's life experiences. I think one of the funnest groups that we had was when we talked about vacations and people brought pictures of their like world traveling vacation. I'm just a country girl from East Texas, so I haven't had a lot of traveling excursions. And it was beautiful to watch folks lighten up, brighten up, and just to be able to talk about those life experiences of traveling and teaching me something at the same time, not to be so afraid to go overseas. So, no, there's no commitment. You can come when you want to come. Don't come if you're not able to come, and there's no pressure either way.
That's great to know, Nora. Thank you. And Sabrina has put a couple of links into the chat if everyone has their chat open. And Joanne, thank you for your input about our typo there. We'll be sure to get that looked at. But also the Plano Library Learns blog is there, and also the handouts to the Living Well series. I don't know if you all been able to make the other Living Well series. This is actually our final one for the summer session, our August session that we're having today. But we hope to do another Living Well series sometime in the future. And last chance for any other questions into the chat. Nora or Grace, is there anything you'd like to add?
I just know that I want to really encourage everyone who's listening. If you feel like Front Porch might not be for you, but maybe you have a neighbor or a family member or someone at church, someone that you regularly see in the grocery store, anyone, our services are for anybody 55 and older. And so if there's anyone who could just benefit from developing some maybe new friendships, just and then when I use the word intimate, please don't hear me saying that these are all like close, familial, or marriage type relationships. Intimacy just refers to a sense of connection with another person, a sense of familiarity. And so you can still determine and decide how close you want people to be, but to give yourself the opportunity to just be a part of experiencing a positive social connection and sense of belonging is what I would encourage you to take from this and to pass along to others that you come in contact with. Again, it's free and we're not selling any kind of product or anything. It's just a chance to get together and talk.
And I also wanted to mention coming up this fall, we have a new series that's starting here at the library. It will actually be held at the Haggard Library on Court Road. I'm going to let Nora speak about it for a minute, but it's called Caregiver Circle, and it will be held once a month at Haggard. The details will be coming out in our fall brochure about exactly when and where, but this is a really exciting new series that we'll be doing in partnership with the Wellness Center, actually with Nora. So we'd love to hear you, let Nora speak about that for a few minutes. So Nora, would you please share a little bit about Caregiver Circle?
Yes, I feel so humbled, and I really want to thank the library for partnering with us on this to be able to provide this support. Caregiver Circles it's a training opportunity where I will have information to share that is specific to caregiving. And so we're actually going to offer a class earlier in the day and then another one after work. So, after 5:30, once a month, so that we can capture folks who want to come during the day, but then those who have to work, then they have a time that they have available to them as well. And Caregiver Circles is a support group, but it's an educational support group. So there is a lot of conversation, and while I will try to present evidence-based tips, strategies, techniques, tools, and resources for the caregiving journey, we're going to dive a little deeper into some specific classes, like what to actually do with dementia challenging behaviors. How do I set up a routine at home? How do I answer questions when people ask me about dementia or any of the types of dementia, Alzheimer's being one type of those? What do I do when a loved one has been diagnosed and I really don't know a lot and I want to learn a lot, but my doctor doesn't have time to explain things to me? And so while it meets as a support group environment, we will talk about specific things that the group brings. And so we will dive a little deeper into strategies and tools and resources. I'll have my laptop there with resources available, and we'll just research that topic if I don't already have some information on it, so that when you leave Caregiver Circle, you feel like you've gotten something very tangible to help you in taking care of your loved one. Whether it's a disease process, maybe it's a conversation about hospice and end of life, maybe it's about the process of dementia, the journey, the changes, the behaviors, the limitations that you're starting to recognize, even in how to communicate. Maybe all we wind up is getting into arguments. So maybe learning a little bit more about how to have a conversation with someone with dementia. A lot of times we talk about how to communicate things to family members and friends. I hear a lot of caregivers whose loved ones have been diagnosed with dementia say, how do I help my church understand that he's overwhelmed? How do I help my kids understand how to talk to him? My grandkids, what do my grandkids say to her? How do we engage? What do I do if in the middle of a store he gets lost or she gets confused and we have an argument? So very specific, tangible how-tos is the Caregiver Circle. It's a chance for conversations about real life, real challenges, and the real journey of caregiving, because caregiving is hard. And so trying to offer evidence-based information.
Sounds like it will be very pragmatic, very customized, and really meet people where they're at with their caregiver questions and issues. So we're really looking forward to that, and so appreciative for the Wellness Center's partnership in that. So keep an eye out as our fall program materials come out. A few weeks from now, because this series, I believe, will require registration. So you'll want to look for that information to register for the series, similar to Living Well. And if you can't make every meeting, that's fine. Just go ahead and register if you plan to attend it all. And that again is called Caregiver Circle or Caregiver Circles. And keep your eye out for that. I believe, Sabrina, we have one question in the Q&A panel.
There is.
Is there a way to pull that one up?
Yes. It says, are you aware as to if Living Well is offered in McKinney, Texas? I assume they mean similar programs, perhaps?
Well, Nora can probably speak to McKinney a bit. We have only the Living Well series and similar programs through the Plano Public Library. Folks are always welcome to come from McKinney or other areas. Most of our programs do not require a library card. Some may on occasion. So Nora, would you like to speak to some of the services that may be available for McKinney folks?
Right, yes. We had been able to provide counseling supports, caregiver information, caregiver circle, and individual counseling at the McKinney Center. Our nurse still goes to the McKinney Center. I don't have her schedule with me right now, but she does provide preventive health services at the McKinney Senior Center. And so you could go on our website, or if you'll email me, I will be happy to send you the information, the link about those days that she is in McKinney. Unfortunately, we had to stop providing services at the McKinney Center on the caregiver counseling side because of some internal issues that we were having, staff related. There's limited staff available. But we are currently looking for a location to be able to resume those services in McKinney. And so if you are a member of a community group, church group, and have a location that would be willing to be a site for us, we want to resume that as soon as possible. We just haven't been able to get back into the McKinney Senior Center at this time. But we do offer services for the health component, preventive health services in McKinney right now. And as soon as we can find a location or a space available, we're hoping to get back in the McKinney Center for the caregiver supports.
Well, I would like to thank you for your questions, and we've come to the end of our time. So again, I'd like to thank Nora Gravois, counselor at the Wellness Center for Older Adults, and her colleague Grace, who has been with us today, as well as all of you for being here. Thank you so much for your attendance and your participation and your question and your precious listening. Listening is such a gift. So thank you for listening to us. And with that, we will wish you a wonderful day, and thanks again for joining us.
I do have just one more question really quick.
Oh, sure.
Yes, this was not from a person, but you mentioned, Nora, that if someone wanted to contact you, they should email you. I checked, and I don't think we had your email on a slide. Would you like me to put that in chat for people?
Yes, that will be great. Let me see if I can do that. I'll put that in chat. I'm so sorry. I thought I had done that.
Thanks for catching that, Sabrina.
Yeah, of course.
It's a wonderful idea. I think we had the Wellness Center's website posted, but here is Nora's direct email. It is in the chat now.
Yes. Thank you for catching that. Yes, if anyone has any questions or would like to see about getting some services started, don't hesitate to contact us. You can either call the office or you can email me directly and we'll get back to you.
Thanks again, everyone. Have a wonderful week and stay social.
Thank you, Susan.